Flying taxis are officially taking off. Big companies like Joby Aviation, Archer, and Volocopter are racing to bring these high-tech air taxis to cities around the world. These futuristic vehicles promise faster, cleaner, and more efficient travel than ever before. But how do these flying taxis actually work, and what impact will they have on our daily lives? The race to launch flying taxis is heating up, with big companies and startups competing to bring this futuristic technology to life. Some of the biggest names in aviation, like Boeing and Airbus, are investing millions into eVTOL aircraft. Meanwhile, tech-focused startups like Joby Aviation, Archer Aviation, and Volocopter are leading the way with advanced designs and real test flights. Even companies like Uber have shown interest in flying taxis, hoping to include them in future ride-sharing services. The competition is fierce, with each company trying to be the first to offer a safe, reliable, and affordable air taxi service. Different companies are building different kinds of eVTOLs, each with its own unique features. Joby Aviation's aircraft, for example, can carry 4 passengers, reach speeds of up to 200 miles per hour, and fly around 150 miles on a single charge. Volocopter's design is smaller, built mainly for short city trips, with a maximum range of about 22 miles. Archer Aviation's Midnight eVTOL is designed to carry up to 5 people, with quick charging times that allow it to complete multiple trips per hour. These differences show that some eVTOLs are meant for long-distance travel, while others are perfect for quick urban flights. But the real question is, how will these taxis change everyday travel? With urban areas becoming more crowded and traffic getting worse, eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, offer a new way to travel that is faster, quieter, and more efficient. This new type of transportation, called urban air mobility, UAM, is forcing cities to rethink their infrastructure. Instead of just roads, buses, and subways, cities will now need vertiports, special landing and takeoff spots for flying taxis. These could be built on top of buildings, parking garages, or even near major train stations to make it easy for people to switch between different types of transportation. Flying taxis won't completely replace other ways of getting around, but they will become an important part of the overall transportation network. Imagine booking an eVTOL ride just like you would with Uber or Lyft. You could take a subway to a major transit hub, then hop on an air taxi. For the last part of your trip, avoiding traffic completely. Some companies are already planning to integrate flying taxis into existing ride-sharing apps, making it easy to book a ride in the air just like you would on the ground. This means people could soon travel across a city in minutes instead of hours. One of the biggest early uses for flying taxis will be premium transport for business travelers. Companies will be willing to pay for their executives to get across a city in a fraction of the time it takes by car. A flight that takes 10 to 15 minutes could replace a stressful hour-long commute in traffic. But how much will these futuristic rides actually cost? Right now, air taxi rides are expected to be expensive, especially at first. Since eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, are still new, the companies building them need to recover their investment. Early prices will likely be similar to helicopter rides, which means they won't be affordable for everyone right away. Experts predict that a short trip in an air taxi could cost anywhere from $100 to $300 per passenger, depending on the distance and demand. That's much more than a regular taxi or an Uber ride, but it will still be faster and more convenient, especially in busy cities. To make flying taxis more accessible, companies are looking at different ways to price them. Some companies might offer subscription services or memberships, where people pay a monthly fee for a certain number of rides. This would be similar to first-class airline memberships or premium ride-hailing services. For example, a businessperson who travels a lot might pay for unlimited air taxi rides within a city. Another model could be a dynamic pricing system, where costs change depending on the time of day or demand, just like how Uber's surge pricing works. As the technology improves and more companies enter the market, costs are expected to drop. Right now, flying taxis are expensive to build because they require high-tech batteries, lightweight materials, and advanced computer systems. But just like electric cars, mass production will make them cheaper over time. More competition between companies like Joby Aviation, Archer, and Volocopter will also help lower prices. Eventually, flying taxis could become as affordable as a premium Uber ride, making them an option for more people instead of just the wealthy. Before flying taxis can take over the skies, governments need to figure out how to regulate them. Governments need to decide where flying taxis can operate, who can fly them, and how they will interact with other aircraft like planes and helicopters. The biggest challenge is making sure these vehicles don't interfere with air traffic at busy airports or crash into buildings and drones. One of the most important things is air traffic control. Right now, airplanes follow strict flight paths and communicate with air traffic controllers. If hundreds of flying taxis are zooming around cities, there needs to be a new system to track them and prevent collisions. Different countries have different rules about flying taxis. In the US, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, recently introduced rules for pilot training and certification for eVTOLs. The UK is testing air taxi routes, and companies like Joby Aviation are working closely with regulators. China is pushing ahead fast, planning to introduce thousands of flying taxis within the next few years. Europe is also working on safety rules to allow eVTOLs in cities like Paris and Berlin. Besides regulations, companies also need to figure out insurance, safety training, and licensing for flying taxis. Passengers need to feel safe, and companies must prove that these vehicles won't fail mid-air. And once flying taxis are approved, where will they land and take off? Since flying taxis don't need long runways like regular planes, vertiports can be built on rooftops, parking garages, train stations, and even inside city centers. The goal is to make it easy for passengers to switch between flying taxis and other types of transportation, like buses, trains, or regular ride-sharing services. Many major cities are already planning how to fit vertiports into their landscapes. In places like New York, Los Angeles, London, and Paris, companies are looking at skyscraper rooftops and high-rise parking decks as perfect landing spots. Some airports are even designing separate areas for flying taxis so passengers can quickly transfer between flights. However, not every city is ready for this change. Zoning laws and real estate issues could slow down the process, since some areas might not allow new construction, and not every building can handle the weight of an eVTOL landing on top. One of the most exciting ideas is self-sufficient vertiports powered by renewable energy. Some companies are designing vertiports with solar panels, wind turbines, and charging stations, so eVTOLs can refuel without using fossil fuels. These futuristic hubs could become eco-friendly transportation centers, making flying taxis even greener. With all these advancements, could flying taxis become as common as Uber in the near future? One of the biggest changes in the future will be autonomous flying taxis. Right now, most eVTOLs need pilots, but companies are already testing self-flying versions. AI-powered taxis could fly passengers without a human pilot, making rides even cheaper and more efficient. However, many people are still nervous about riding in a fully autonomous aircraft, so it might take time before people completely trust this technology. Governments will also need to set strict safety rules before letting pilotless air taxis fly in crowded cities. At first, many people might be hesitant to use flying taxis, just like how people were unsure about self-driving cars. But as more passengers see that they are safe and reliable, they will become normal. It's amazing to think that ideas from old sci-fi shows like The Jetsons or Blade Runner are becoming real. The dream of flying cars has been around for decades, and now, we're actually seeing it happen. But what do you think? Would you take a flying taxi to skip traffic? Or do you still have doubts about safety and cost? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more updates on futuristic tech, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out.